All right, I'm going to give this a couple seconds. I know it doesn't quite come on live and let me know it's live until a few seconds after. There's always a delay. So, okay, I think we got the green light. So, everybody, welcome. My name is Mark Ficciani. I'm the founder of Path. I help B2B startups accelerate by building high performing in house sales development teams and by coaching existing teams even higher levels of performance. So I am fired up for today. I do this webinar every couple of weeks to talk about a different topic pertaining to sales development. And I thought, what better topic right now than AI? Unless you've been living under a rock, you know AI is everywhere. It's in everybody's complete consciousness. It's front of mind, but there's a lot of noise out there. So I thought, certainly the question isn't, AI or not AI. I made a joke about that yesterday on LinkedIn. A better question to me is in thinking about sales, and specifically my expertise is around sales development teams, where does AI fit best? And where does it not fit best? So that's what I'm going to talk about today. And let me jump right into it and we'll dive into that topic. So, with regard to that, that is the key question of the day. And typically, what I like to do in these sessions is to talk for about 20 minutes. This one will be a little shorter than most. And then my goal is to be able to open it up and give you the opportunity to drop some questions in the chat. That way I can respond and be able to, again, a little bit of a dialogue to share your perspective and also to give you mine. The way I designed this particular training today was around three things. My expertise is in three aspects of what I would call the SDR process. The first is in program design. And what do I mean by that? So, if you're going to build an SDR team, you better think about a couple of different things. You better think about your metrics. You better think about your tech stack. You better think about your sales process. You better think about where your SDRs fit into your overall sales structure. And you better think about compensation plans. So all that and more goes into program design. So I'll talk about where I see AI fitting best there and where it's not fitting as well. Second part's in hiring. So in the process of building a team, you need to go out and get great hires. So I'll be talking about that as it pertains to SDRs. Finally, it's AI and SDR onboarding and coaching. Again, a lot of areas where I see it being very successful, where I can help that process, and also where there are gaps. So again, to give a disclaimer, this is just my perspective based on my last 8 years of working in SDR teams. And look, maybe 2 years from now, what I share today is going to be completely outdated. It probably will because the technology is going to change. But right now, as we stand here, April 2025, my goal is to share what I've seen based on my time building and leading an SDR team, as well as all my work with clients in the past 12 plus months and helping them scale and grow their own teams. As well as I talk to multiple founders each week, different companies that either are building a team or that have teams already. And so there's a lot of intel that I have around products and different services. So what I'm not going to do is give you a list of go use these 5 softwares to help and don't use these. I think everybody's experience is different, but what I will give you is my best feedback based on what I know. So that's enough background. Let's jump in and get after it. Okay, topic number 1, building a winning SDR team. So where do I see AI fitting well? Well, first of all, tech stack analysis. So almost step back one level here. You need a good tech stack to have a successful SDR team. Now, depending on budget and timing, everybody's going to be a little bit different in terms of what their ICP is and what they need, but you do need a tech stack of some capacity. So an AI tool can help you figure out what is my best use of resources given the makeup of our team and our ICP. It can help you analyze what tools you might need and the spend that's going to be appropriate. Data enrichment. I see this having a lot of success right now. There are some great companies out there. They're going to help you through AI, give you better company and contact data. So, quite frankly, you've got a better starting point in your CRM, or your CRM essentially is getting beefed up because of AI. Another piece, lead distribution. Um, a lot of your strategy should be pertaining to what are the best leads to put in the hands of my team in order to go out there and book business and win revenue. So, yes, there's a methodology to that. That's a really important part of strategy. So, AI is going to be able to give you some tools around who might be more willing to buy right now. Of my verticals that I focus on for my business, who's going to be the best targets right now? So it can help you make some of those decisions around prioritization. Another piece, comp plan modeling. So you want to basically figure out what should I pay my team? Doing some predictive analysis. Sorry, I got tongue tied there. Doing some predictive analysis. I was going to say analytics based on different factors: your sales velocity, your attrition risk, how successful you've been with your team, building a potential ROI. AI can really be helpful in helping you building the right plan and making those decisions, given if you have data already as a starting point. If you're going from scratch, it's going to be a little bit harder. But these could be some different ways AI will help you in the design of building a team. Where do I see it fitting less successfully? Um, Live performance. So here's why I put this in the building part and not the coaching part. I think it's really important for you to step back and realize that in many B2B spaces, the SDRs are still going to need to pick up the phone. Um, Look, there are so many softwares out there that are touting warming up an inbox and cutting through better messaging, customizing your message. All that's great, but at the end of the day, the best performing teams that I've worked with are the ones that have an element of a team picking up the phone and being successful. So I'm going to plead you, when you build an SDR team, make sure you have phone calls as part of your process. If you somehow become convinced that you can have this contactless, personless experience where you just punch it all through AI and your pipeline is full, I think you're going to be in for a lot of pain. Now, the people that I see that disagree with me are the ones that build those softwares that tell you that that's what you can do. I've worked with a couple of teams, and there's a couple of softwares out there that recently got some pretty serious funding in the 8-figure variety, closer to 9 figures. And you know what? It didn't help us get better targets. It didn't help us with messaging, and it didn't help us get any more meetings. And so ultimately, the way that the team won was doing a great job picking up the phone. So I just want to make you cautious about that as you design your program, thinking that you don't really need any human beings to do outreach. Again, if your motion is all inbound, we're talking about something different. I'm talking about an outbound action. Next piece, collaboration with AEs. There are no shortcuts. It's a really important aspect of having a successful SDR team to make sure that if you have a booking function where there's a handoff from SDRs to AEs, they need to collaborate. You want them in sync. And an AI tool is not going to help you do that. It's going to require, if you're in office, someone that's sitting with the SDR team to walk down 2 rows and go tell the AE about the little nuggets of that phone call that are going to help them. Sure, you can put it in Slack or put it in notes or have some other aspect of it, but the color that comes from the human conversation cannot be replaced. The quick phone call that happens between the SDR and the AE, they are highly, highly underrated. When you get a good synergy and collaboration and a good pairing, it is electric. And you see it. You see teams that win. The AEs trust the SDRs, and the SDRs have extreme confidence that they're going to put meetings in place that are going to happen and move through the pipeline. So there is no shortcut to that. AI will not help you. And I really want to make sure you know that it's a priority as you build your team. It's not going to show up in the Excel sheet, but you need to think about it. Next piece, I'm going to let you know that right now, AI is much better when there's history and there's something more. For cold outreach, it's weaker because, again, the AI is going to give you all kinds of different tools and different ways to share. Hey, based on this response, here's how you can craft your response. Based on what they've said or based on the history, here's a strategy. Here's me analyzing the word choices. All that's great. But if you're going in cold, then sure, it might help you craft a better message. But again, I don't think that's going to, at scale, help you break through and fill your pipeline with meetings. Right now, cold outreach is still a battle. You still need to put the work in. And so the tools can help to make a more seamless process. But on cold outreach, it's still a slog. So I just want to give you that frame. Next piece. Where does it fit well? SDR hiring. Let's talk about that topic. So, resume screening, great tool. There's so much that can be done in terms of if you know the criteria that you need, a lot of AI tools out there, if you're willing to invest in them as a company, to be able to pare down your pool. Same thing with candidate sourcing. There are tools out there that access all the large databases. So now all of a sudden you're swimming in the right pool. AI is great for that, and there are a lot of great tools out there that help you do that. Predictive analysis. Let's say you know a little bit about your prior team's factors for success, and you have some data around that of what a winning team looks like. Well, use AI to be able to give you a better profile of who you want to continue to hire based on your successes and your learnings of where you weren't as successful. Outreach, of course, automating outreach. It's going to help you get out to as many candidates as possible in a time efficient way. And then finally, let's say in your process, you have some kind of a skill test that you want your potential SDRs to be able to do. Maybe you've got a sale that's a little bit more technical and you want to really see how they acquire that knowledge. Well, AI tools can be great around designing and then assessing a skill test. So, all great places in that vein. Where's it going to fit less seamlessly? Character traits. AI is just not there yet. To me, this is one of the most unspoken aspects, and it's actually my highest priority in terms of what I look for in hires and what discerns a great hire from a good hire from an okay or a poor hire. And right now, I mean, I actually had a little chat with somebody over LinkedIn of a up and coming leading HR AI software company. And I asked him this question, and the CEO said, "Hey, look, Mark, you're right. We're not there in character traits yet. Maybe in a couple years it'll be there, but it's not there." So you need to be really cognizant and build a process where you are thoughtfully screening for the right character traits that are going to give you successful SDR hires. I have my own set of 3 to 4 that I hold in the highest regard, and I have a process around that. But again, AI is not going to get you there. So you need another way to be able to filter for it. Emotional intelligence, right? Social cues. So it's really interesting when you get in deeper into a hiring process that you'll find sometimes, and in my experience of interviewing SDRs and account executives, sometimes you have somebody that says all the right answers. And so AI is not going to tell you that, hey, you know what, they have great polish, but they lack substance. But if you can't get the depth of answer from a particular question, if you're not getting concrete examples, you know this person may not be a great listener and they might fit everything from a profile perspective. They might have the great pedigree and great experience, but you just know they're not going to be successful in the job because they're not catching the social cues. They lack that emotional intelligence. They're not building empathy. And with that, they're probably also not building connection. You need to be able to gauge nonverbal cues to understand, is this person astute? Are they going to be someone that is connecting with my ICP? And you have to know what your ICP is and how they respond. So AI is not going to tell you that. That's work that you need to do in the hiring process because, again, Somebody might look great on screen or on paper, but if they lack that ability to create connection, they are not going to be successful as an SDR. And then let's take another step. Are they a cultural fit? AI is not going to tell you that. One of the most important markers of whether or not someone's successful in your company is that cultural fit. So clearly, I would like to think that, if you are a growing, successful company that's forward thinking and entrepreneurial and you have a great product, you also know who you are. And so as a result, hopefully you've articulated what some of your key principles are. And you know that based on not just words on paper, but the actions people display every day that makes you and your company unique. So in your process of doing your interviews and hiring, AI is not going to tell you that alignment. You're going to need to be able to figure that out for yourself. So I think that it's really important not to underrate this aspect of the process, because if somebody's not a great fit, it's going to be a struggle. Last area, onboarding and coaching. So this is really the third phase of the work. Now they're in the seats. So where does AI fit well? Well, certainly the aspect almost pre-hire or pre-day one, or really just that aspect of getting them moving with everything with their systems. Automating all those admin tasks are huge, right? What systems do they need? Do they have their documentation? Do you have all those boxes checked? AI is great for that. Interactive training. Maybe you have some aspect, maybe you're a much larger, more established company, and you've got a product overview. Well, AI can be great to be able to not just develop that, but also for you to be able to monitor how they're doing in that training. And then finally, tracking progress. So AI is great for looking at different KPIs. It's great at assessing gaps in terms of habits or numbers themselves. So it can be very useful in terms of your analysis of how's this person doing as they're getting started in the role. So I encourage you to figure out ways to use AI to do that. Where doesn't it fit well? A couple areas I think to me that really jump out. Team dynamics. It's not going to tell you that interpersonal fit. To me, one of the most crucial aspects of this person's success is going to be how they interact with other people on your team. And certainly, if you're in office, you're going to get those cues a lot quicker, and you're going to get that insight a lot more clearly, because you're going to see them every day. If they're remote, that's a little bit harder, but you're still going to be able to understand whether they fit based on your observations. No AI is going to be able to tell you that. Again, personal coaching. What are the specific individual insights about this person's performance that only you can share? So if let's say you're in office, or let's say you're remote, you're going to be doing different things to observe how this person is moving through their process. You're going to be seeing the kinds of questions that they ask. You're going to have individual insights around their process and their skill set as they're doing their outbound work. And really, those insights can be best done with a leader that's giving that great feedback. Another thing that AI is not going to be able to help with is that unique sales context. I'm going to call it the flavor of the sale. So, here's a great example of the way I think about it. If I have, someone that sounds like, I'm going to date myself here. Let's say I've got a construction tech company. I'm selling into an equipment management software, but I've got somebody that sounds like Mr. Belvedere, the British butler, who's making that call. And they're using fancy words like asset management as opposed to controlling your equipment. They're going to be missing that flavor of the sale. So I think that a great leader is going to be able to pick that up and understand the pace, the nature, the flavor, so to speak, of that sale. Whereas if that person that was a little bit more refined or polished, that British butler persona calling into fintech probably would do great. That's probably going to go over really well if you're calling into hedge fund managers. But it's not going to have the same flavor as construction tech if I'm calling equipment managers or superintendents. So again, AI is not going to be able to share that. That's where the personal touch is required. And then here's maybe what I think is one of the most important aspects is gauging comfort. So you can design an amazing program. You can put the work into really pouring yourself into hiring the best talent. But at the end of the day, that person during their onboarding, there's going to be struggles. And every person's struggles are different. And AI is not going to tell you where they're comfortable and where there's discomfort. Now, I want to be crystal clear here. The goal of onboarding is not for someone to be comfortable 100% of the time. This is not a great onboarding doesn't mean that your team is perfectly coddled and they have no challenge whatsoever, right? There's going to be resilience required in this role. Where a great manager, a great leader comes in is really being astute, observing a team, building relationships, and then being able to detect where they're comfortable and doing well, and then detecting discomfort. Because the sooner that that gets brought to the surface, the sooner it can be addressed. If you're keeping a secret or they're unaware of the struggles, they're not going to be able to help solve that problem. A great leader knows how to observe people and sees where the body language is off. They see where there's hesitation. They see the person with hulk shoulders, and so a great leader can call that out and be able to walk somebody through that, give them either the technical advice that they need, or sometimes it's just that bit of a mindset reframe to then go attack that next stretch of the day with more success. Between the ears is where the SDR is going to struggle most. So AI is not going to help with that. And that's where you need to make sure that in that coaching and onboarding process, you are hyper focused on that. Because by the end of that onboarding period, you want your SDR team to be motivated, confident, and have the skill set to be successful. So an AI tool is not going to help you do that. It only can be done through a great leader that has the passion and the expertise to observe and communicate effectively. So I'm going to pause here. I just probably about 20 plus minutes there. I'm curious to hear what are your thoughts and what are your questions based on what I shared today? And what additional questions do you have around this topic? My guess is that maybe you have a different area where maybe this has gone well for you, or maybe you have a completely different point of view. I'm very curious to understand what your perspective is on it. So this way I can answer questions or maybe reply in kind. So I'm going to take a look at my feed on LinkedIn to see if anybody is responding. See if there's any comments here. Yeah, I see a couple great comments. I see Derek, yes. Related lead distribution is also account prioritization. Absolutely. So important to be able to figure out what accounts require the most attention. And if you have a mechanism that can help you identify that, that can save you months of spending the wrong time in the wrong areas, right? It's I think there was an old metaphor that said something along the lines of, hey, you think you're running around. Let's imagine the old days. You're running around with a map of New York City, or maybe you have your GPS that's giving you the street to street. But really, what you don't understand is, the coordinates that it's giving you is it's really a map of Chicago. So you're completely in the wrong place because you think you should be in one area when you really should be spending your time in another. So if you have that ability to be in a better spot, again, only 5% of your target market is probably at any one time potentially buying. So it's important to spend your limited resources, because everybody has limits, of focusing your energy in the areas that are going to help you win. There's no heroism in trying to go fight what will ultimately be a losing battle. If that market is ice cold and just the opportunity isn't there right now, why would you bang your head against the wall in one area when you have another potential vertical where there's a little bit more of an appetite? Maybe there's a little bit more tech savviness, a little more appetite for your solution right now. So I completely agree with that perspective of account prioritization. And if you have some AI tools that can help you understand that, I would absolutely invest in those and use those, because again, you're going to be spending your time in the right areas. Let me see what other questions or comments might be up. Going to my feed here. All right, looks like there are no other questions that I see right now. So look, I hope this was helpful for you today. Quick recap in terms of where AI is fitting best. On the building side, I'm seeing it in assessing a tech stack, doing a better job of lead distribution, data enrichment, and then building an ROI model for your team. On the hiring side, it is the initial screening, widening the pool, predictive analytics, and skill test. That's the second time I tripped over that word today. Man, got to say that 5 times fast. Third, onboarding and coaching, setup, interactive training, and monitoring progress. AI is very effective in that area. Where is it not fitting as well yet? Live engagement. Remembering, you can't do all your outreach in an automated way. Or you can, I just don't think you're going to have as much success as if you have a human element in your team. So when you design your SDR program, I would strongly encourage you to make sure that you have somebody, especially in a lot of, if you're calling into blue collar industries, people are not sitting around waiting for an email. They answer the phone. Collaboration, important to make sure you get that SDR AE synergy. It's crucial for success. Colder outreach. I think the AI right now is going to be better suited to warmer outreach of existing communication. And then complex ICP. There's so much that is being spoken about today with different targeting tools. But look, the thing is, the more factors you build in, the more expensive it's going to be. I talked to a company the other day, and I even called up where I thought was a fairly simple request. And I said, hey, look, I've got a prospect that's interested in just knowing that if what companies in construction also have these other softwares, because they integrate with them really successfully. So it can be a really smooth process. So I took a call because I did some research and tried to call some different companies. And one company shared, we got in the meeting 5 minutes in, shared that, well, the starting point was $25,000 for that information. And they actually don't even provide any contact data. So another company I know, really was talking about their AI agents and how they build these pathways and they do a better job of sourcing. But the pricing is very custom, and I just wasn't even able to get clarity on what that would even look like. So I think that the simpler your ICP is, the better. But the AI is just not there yet on giving a really repeatable solution for complex ICP that I think is affordable for an early stage startup. Hiring, character traits. AI is not going to help you with that. You must build this into your process, have screening to make sure that you are filtering for the right traits that are going to be a fit to help your SDRs be successful in your company. Same goes for emotional intelligence and connection. You want to make sure that you are being very observant in the process and you are listening to those cues, because if there's polish but no substance, then they're probably not going to be successful in connecting with your target ICP. And if they don't have a high degree of emotional intelligence, they're probably not going to be a great cultural fit for you as a company. And then finally, you've got onboarding and coaching. So in terms of the intra-team dynamics, AI is not going to really be your asset in that area. Personal coaching to give those specific insights around what that SDR needs to do to improve. That's best done through manager feedback and observation. That really special, unique context of a sale, it's not quite there yet from that perspective. And then just gauging team comfort. To me, this is the most important part, that if you were going to do all this work to build a program and hire a great team, then it is really crucial for you to be able to build a great onboarding process that both makes the team comfortable with being in your company, but also challenges them appropriately, puts them in places of discomfort, but gives you the ability to coach them through that natural friction that happens as they learn their craft. So AI is not going to help you do that. That's work that you're going to need to do as a leader. So I hope that was helpful today. That's my background on, based on my perspective of where I think AI fits best today in the SDR game and where it doesn't fit as well. So looking ahead, I'm going to do these Friday Field webinars every couple of weeks. Next week, actually, I'm going to be doing one. So maybe the cadence might be a little different. I'll probably return to this usual LinkedIn Live in 3 weeks, but every couple of weeks, I'm going to be presenting a different topic. You can always catch the replay on LinkedIn Live or on YouTube. I do a weekly newsletter. So if you are interested in my insights on startups, business, and life in general, subscribe to the Make Your Mark newsletter. And then, hey, if you're interested in talking, maybe you want to sound out some questions of what you heard today. Maybe you're thinking about the possibility of building an SDR team, but maybe you're more enamored with inbound. It's not your channel. You want to talk about it. I love to chat. I love to see if potentially it's a right fit for you. If it's not the right fit right now, well, then I'm happy to give you my SDR playbook. And then maybe a quarter or two or three from now, you at least have a concept of how to go about building a team, and it'd be the right time to talk. Or maybe, you know what, you're interested because you do think it is the right time. But you'd love to kind of figure out a little bit more about what I do specifically. Book a call with me. If it's a fit for both of us, I'd love nothing more than to help you put your foot on the gas and to get what every founder wants, that path to predictable, sustainable revenue growth. So if you're interested, shoot me a message. Love to chat. So that's it, everybody. Thank you for the time today. Appreciate you coming out and seeing this, and look forward to seeing you back. If you want to join my talk next week, let me know. I'll give the information on that. If not, I'll see you in a couple weeks. Have a great Friday, and I'll talk soon.